Working on ourselves can be hard. It takes courage to both acknowledge what's working well and celebrate our efforts with pride. And it takes courage to identify areas for improvement and take action. Our partner and my friend, Dr. Rosie Ward, is exceptional at walking alongside leaders to bring out their most courageous selves. Rosie was chosen out of 10,000 applicants to spend 3 days with Brene Brown in 2019 to become a certified Dare to Lead facilitator. How cool is that? I know we have a lot of Brene fans within People Forward Network. I'm one of those. I am excited to share Rosie Ward's Courageous Leadership Program with you. She creates a community experience to grow together among a group of leaders who are committed to get better. And Rosie leads this collaborative group in applying the skills we need to be our most courageous self. We have an offer at the end of this episode to take advantage of early bird ticket pricing. We're going to be there. We hope you join us. Now, are you ready for some Rosie Ward inspiration? She will bring the sparkle, I promise. You know those people you spend time with that just help your sparkle shine a little brighter and help you just feel a little bit more courageous yourself just because of the impact of their vibration, if you will, on you. That's Rosie. So I'm so excited that I'm here today with Dr. Rosie Ward to talk about this courageous leadership program and just the amazing things that this program has done to change people. And I want to start with Rosie. I get excited every time we get to share time on a podcast together. I want to hear about your personal journey around working on yourself. What has that been like? Bring that to life for us.
Ugh, messy and hard and awesome all rolled into one. We're all works in progress, so I feel like I've been working on myself forever and a day. I mean, I, like so many people, spent years in therapy healing, wounds, and I have done numerous self-development programs. I've done numerous coaching training programs where, let's be honest, you're learning to be a coach, but you're actually learning a lot about yourself. Went through certified with Brene Brown as one of her Dare to Lead facilitators and going through that curriculum. And I always am looking for stuff to not just better myself, but to then look at how can we add that into our work and better others. And I just think that the more that I work on myself, I feel like I'm always becoming a better version of myself. There's not an end finish line. And I think it's also, I gotta be honest, it's unsettling. Like there's times you have to look in the mirror and go, God, that is not a version of me I'm proud of. Or I did not show up in a way that I like. And now I have a mess I gotta go clean up. Or, there's tears and there's stomach aches and there's anxiety. Like working on ourselves is not for the timid. But I just feel like we can't have the impact we want to have in this world if we're going to play it safe, and we're going to, like, the version that I am at 48 years old better not be the version I was at 25.
Totally. So you talked about messy, hard, and then on the other side, rewarding. And it's a climb. It's just truly a journey. I said, share your personal journey. And that's the word. It's a journey. It's a never ending thing to constantly work on ourselves. And some days, even in the midst of, our coaching sessions and amazing programs that we're involved with, we're not who we want to be, right? And we have to constantly come back to like, okay, I'm doing a check-in because I've worked on myself to know this doesn't feel good. This isn't who I am. And so the constant journey that it is, and I do have to mention, I just think that this courageous leadership program, I'm so excited to join for it and check it out. I know I've told you many times before, Rosie, but it's such an accomplishment and I'm sure a great honor for you that you've been able to work alongside Brene Brown's work. That is not a small feat. And I think sometimes, we power up to run the marathon and there's so much work that goes in. And then we do quick celebration and we're on to the next thing. And I just want to stop for a minute and say, how many people out there admire Brene Brown's work? How many admire your work and the power of the work that you did to be able to represent the Courageous Leadership Program? So that's why we're here. But I want you to tell me one of your favorite stories about a person that you got to see transform because of their commitment to stick with the journey. You've seen them like work on themselves. Tell us one of those favorite stories.
There are so many, but one that comes to mind, and I'm going to use the name that we used in the book because she approved her story but didn't want me to use her real name. So I believe in our book, we call her Christine. Christine is a leader that she hit a rough patch. She had a lot going on in her life, and she was not showing up as a version that she wanted to, but didn't realize it. And there was complaints from her staff, complaints to human resources at the time. And she at first was like, "Oh my gosh," like was kind of going into the pit of shame of, "Oh, now I'm like being asked to work with Rosie and there's something wrong with me." And she quickly decided to turn this into, it was one of those juncture points. Like, I can either crawl in a hole and get small and be in shame, or I can take advantage of this opportunity to work on myself. And she calls it a gift, and she's like, getting to that point in my life and then, like, being required to work with you, but it was a gift, and she leaned in wholeheartedly, and with her, she had done other work with me and other of our programs, so she had some core and common tools. So what we dug into for her is we use the immunity to change coaching process that we use with a lot of people, and it's really about identifying where you wanna get better, but then really unpacking all of that inner crap that we don't even know about, that's unconscious, that is actually getting in our way, where motivation and willpower are not enough. And then we start to get really curious about, well, where did that crap come from and what makes it worse, what makes it better? And she really wanted to have better, like, work-life harmony, work-life balance, delegating more, setting boundaries, all of the things that so many people struggle with. And what she realized is that because of things that happened when she was growing up, and nothing traumatic, but with a younger sibling that had health issues, she put it on herself to be the protector, to be the I have to be available, to put all this burden on her shoulders. And she was holding it at like a life and death level. And she didn't even realize it. And so now in adulthood, trying to ask her to, like, say no or set boundaries or to somehow be unhelpful was like set her into an absolute amygdala hijack self-protective mode. And so we walked through the process of her being able to poke holes in that narrative, and to watch her, like, it's like you could see the demeanor, like, she shifted from this stressed out to just like beaming, and then stepping into her greatness. She's like, I am ready. I know I'm ready for like a chief nursing officer role. And sure enough, she got a chief nursing officer role. And what was interesting is I'd had her at the end do this really cool 360 tool that we use called the leadership circle profile, that looks at your reactive, like, junky, self-protective thinking versus like the creative, amazing thinking. And it showed exactly that transformation that she had experienced. And she's just an epitome of, you hit that juncture and you can either wallow in self-pity and shrink and double down and, like, get defensive, or you can go, "You know what? There's something to be taught here," and lean in and do the messy work and transform. And it's just like, every time I see her, like, on LinkedIn or she reaches out, I just beam, because I'm like, I know the work she put in, and so many people avoid that work, and she's just like a totally different version of herself, and she's balanced, and she's happy, and she's thriving, and that's just like, it just warms my heart every time I think about her.
Mm. Celebrating Christine. Wow. That's such a cool story and such great work that you all are doing around the courageous leadership work. So, honing in on this courageous leadership program, Rosie, what is the core of a courageous leader?
It's vulnerability. There is no courage without vulnerability, and vulnerability is leaning in to uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. It's not tapping out when things get cringy. It's staying in that messy middle. It's staying in the difficulty of a challenging conversation or feedback, or the ickiness of looking at yourself and going, God, that's not who I want to be. Earlier, when you were talking about resetting, my husband and I were just talking about this. There was some just crap that happened in our social circle last year. And we said, while it was wrapped in like crap packaging, we're actually thankful for, because it's like, you know what? I'd gotten pulled away from who I wanted to be. I'd gotten pulled away from what matters to me, and it was a reset. And so I think the thing about being a courageous leader is we take these adversities, we take these moments, and we don't shy away from them. We don't deflect. We lean into them and we move through them.
And why do you think it's so important to be alongside others in community as we are growing ourselves and going through the journey?
I think there's many reasons. One is that, first of all, we are a social species and we are meant to be in community with other people. And I think when our self-limiting stories, when our junk, known or unknown, conscious or unconscious, is getting in our way of showing up as a courageous leader, we create these narratives that we're the only one. And I am obsessed with normalizing the messiness of being human, because everybody does it. And so when you do this in community, it's, you're working on yourself, but you also have this like solidarity of, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. And we can only get so far by ourselves, but whether you're working with a coach or you're in a community with others as they're working on their own stuff, you learn more about yourself through their sharing. And it's just cool to bring people together who are working on themselves and having this space and leaning in, like, there's just nothing like it. Doing this work by yourself, it can be done. I mean, obviously, I do one-on-one work with people all the time, but doing it in community, there's just something really magical and life-giving about it. That's the best way I can describe it.
Life-giving, right, to be along the journey and to watch people like Christine walk lighter and just have more of this bright light because of the things that they're applying and changing. And also to, during the times that maybe aren't as bright, to have other people that are regularly checking in with you throughout the journey. As we continue this conversation, there's power in community and the peers that we're around for those regular check-ins and support and inspiration. And there is deep power in a coach, someone who walks alongside us and asks us those tough questions and goes at a deeper level with us. I'm a podcaster myself, and I feel like on every other episode, I'm sharing just a couple of names of coaches that have been in my life because for the years of ups and downs I've had, those coaches have been there and have helped me overcome. I'm like, I don't even know what I'd do without them. I know I keep talking about them, but it's such a core part of my overcomer story in many of the things. Talk about from your perspective, especially in the Courageous Leadership Program, the power of having a coach to guide this.
Yeah. Well, one, I have to now that you share that, I have to give a shout out. I've had many great coaches. Any good coach has been coached and gets coached regularly. And the first coach, I've had 2 coaches named Barbara, actually, but the first coach named Barbara that introduced me to the immunity to change process, which is what inspired me to go get certified. She was working with a group of us leaders, and she gave me an acronym that I regularly give out to my clients. I'm like, here's my gift to you from my former coach, Barbara. And when we're in that cringy, when we're in that messy middle, she's like, just remember AFOG, another effing opportunity for growth.
I
So there
love
you
that. I'm
go.
stealing that. That's so good.
Yeah. So I'm like, "It's an A fog." Here we go. So there's my gift to you. But
Solid.
I think that you have coaches that can, like, go, "Okay, lean in, like, don't tap out when it gets cringy." They can give you, goofy acronyms and whatnot. So for me, with the Courageous Leadership Program, really what I wanted to do with this is, yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. We do a lot of work with organizations and leadership teams, and there's something about just having space where whether you wanna come in on your own or we have organizations that send teams, but, like, what are the core things that help us get back to us? And so you talk about having things to get you back in alignment and course correct. And I basically sat down and I was like, what are all the things that I teach day in, day out? But honestly, from a selfish standpoint, what are the things that I use to get back to me? And I've been using consistently year after year after year because they work. And I just thought it feels really selfish of me to not put this out and give more access for other people to have these tools because this is how we become a better human. And so what I did is I basically took the core tools that I've been using forever and put it into this 2-day program where I'm facilitating people through it. And there's a combination of self reflection, there's a combination of small group discussion, large group discussion. I think in a former life, I was a DJ because I can create a playlist for any occasion. So there is like a kick ass playlist that goes along with like what we're doing. But I just think like being able to walk people through and knowing how to hold the space in a group and individually and really just invite people in a psychologically safe environment to look at themselves and work on themselves and give them tools that it's like a guidebook that you can go. I look at it like your manual that you can go back to over and over and over and over to go, oh yeah, I can lean on that to get back in alignment when my humanity gets the best of me because it's going to. And so these are the tools that I use over. So I do walk everybody through their own immunity to change map. So you're going to have like, ooh, where do I get in my own way? Everybody gets to take the YOS discovery. And if they've already taken it, they can gift it to someone. And we take some exercises from Dare to Lead plus some of our other stuff. And it's like, this is how you get back in alignment. And this is how you show up differently. And I don't know, I feel like it's like my legacy gift. I'm still on this earth for a long time, but I just feel like this is something that just is very core to me, and it's all of my tools in one spot, and it's an honor when people tell me that they used it somewhere in their life to get out of their way, and, "Oh, I used that the other day," and I'm like, "Yay!" It warms my heart, and it just yeah, it helps me shine.
Oh, yes. I've heard so many great feedback points about this program, and I was just capturing some notes as you shared. So, the Courageous Leadership Program, it's a time of reflection group collaboration, skill learning, a safe space, stellar and inspiring music, the why assessment to understand more about your why, your how, your what, and why you're here, dare to lead learning modules. And it's 2 days of dedicated time that you blocked on your calendar to work on yourself. How often do we just do that without like something like a program to help us? Like, so don't overlook dedicated time to work on yourself. Rosie, anything else that you want to share before we talk about when it is and how we can grab some early bird pricing?
Here's what I will say is we define leadership. This is really important. We define leadership as maximizing our positive impact by becoming our best, fully authentic self and supporting those around us to step into their greatness and break past barriers. And why that's important, why my podcast is called Show Up as a Leader, is every single one of us has an opportunity to show up as a leader in our life, in our personal life, in our professional life. Leadership is not about a title or a role. And so when we think about this, like this program, it's industry agnostic, it's title and role agnostic. This is really about becoming a better human. And when we think about courageous leadership, it's really how do you show up as a better human in your life? And so we've had individuals that register on their own. We've had organizations that send teams, but I think we need to broaden when we think about, oh, what is leadership? Do you have an opportunity to be more effective? Do you have an opportunity to be better? That's really what my mission, this program and beyond the work we do, is about helping people get out of their own way and normalizing the messiness of being human along the way.
And I know we'll throw this in the show notes to make sure we've got this and we can link out to all the needs to take next steps. But when is it and how do we grab some early bird pricing that I think you said is through April?
Yeah, so we offer it twice a year. It is virtual via Zoom, but it's not gonna feel like it's virtual, as far as, like, how interactive and awesome it is. So, our next offering is May 22nd and May 23rd. It is 12 PM to 5 PM Eastern, so it's kind of half days, and then we also do have another one coming up in November. November's offering will be November 1st and November 2nd, so we're offering it twice this year. And if you want to do the spring session, if you email us at hello@salveopartners.com and mention that you heard this on this episode, we will give you a coupon code for $100 off the May session through April 28th. Or you could certainly also, I suppose, register for the November session if May doesn't work for your calendar and get in really early, and we will honor the $100 off coupon.
Well, listeners, I don't know about you, but I always find that when I get inspired with something, if I ever don't take action then, I kick myself later because I'm like, I was so inspired by this. Why did I not just sign up then? And then I missed it. So here's my message for you. Go ahead, jot that down, hello@salveopartners.com. Reach out to the team and get your early bird pricing and get registered. I can't wait. Thanks, Rosie.
I'm Rosie Ward, and this is Show Up as a Leader. To learn more, head over to PeopleForwardNetwork.com and, of course, hit that follow button.